All-Pro Micah Parsons to the Packers for defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Parsons gets the deal ultimately he wanted. 4 years, $188 million, 136 of that guaranteed, which is a record for a non-quarterback. Here's Jerry Jones trying to explain the inexplicable.
There's no question that I could have signed him in April. And so we all know that to have agreements, all parties have to agree. I did make Micah an offer, and I honor the fact that it wasn't done in the way that he wanted to do it through an agent. There's not an ounce of vindictiveness. There's no bad feelings on my part about the fact that we didn't come together on an agreement. When you are talking about making a contract the kind that he got and for the future, that's quite a commitment. We have just decided that it was in the best interest of our team, and we can win in our minds more than had we gone the other route and signed. This gives us a better chance to be a better team than we have been the last several years since Micah's been here. Not any negative on Micah, but we're trying to get better. We're trying to stop the run and stay in the hunt.
Trying to get better. On the scene, Cowboys reporter Todd Archer joins us now. As you continue conversations around the building, what have you learned that drove Jerry Jones to trade away his superstar edge rusher?
Yeah, Kevin, there really wasn't one moment where the Cowboys said, okay, we just need to move on. You know, you talk to the people in the organization. Yeah, there might be some people that were annoyed at him lying on the medical table during last week's preseason game or some of his past practice habits. But maybe all that stuff added up. But I think for the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones talked about it, he believes this was the best move for a team that needed to help stopping the run. You get Kenny Clark. This gives them some flexibility in the future with the 2 first-round picks that they've garnered here from the Packers, as well as the cap space that they gained from not paying Parsons. Now, the Cowboys have not been big spenders in free agency, that we know, so they might have to change their MO a little bit. But I just think that they were ready to move on. And it was a situation where you're 6 days out before you play the Eagles. Now they don't have to answer any more questions about Micah Parsons. Will he play? Will he not play? Now, though, it opens up some other questions. I guess it's just on the field.
Yeah, let's get to those questions. Again, as you mentioned, less than a week away from going to Philly to face the Super Bowl champs. How does the loss of Parsons affect the Cowboys' season and their outlook now?
Well, it depends on who you ask, right? Outside the building, certainly the expectations are as low as they can possibly be, perhaps. But inside the building, you heard Jerry Jones say, this makes the Cowboys a better playoff team. Of course, they have to qualify for the playoffs. And I asked Brian Schottenheimer, what does this do for the Cowboys right now? And he said, nothing's changed. The goal is still win a world championship. They've not won one since 1995, as we all know. They're entering a season without their best pass rusher, but the power of positivity from Brian Schottenheimer, that's what's carrying them. We'll see what happens starting September 4th against the Eagles.
All right, you can read much more on Todd's reporting at ESPN.com. Let's go over to Elle with more.
Yeah, so this trade did have a major impact on the Packers' odds this season. They're now tied with the Lions as the NFC North favorites. They moved from 20-1 to 14-1 to win the Super Bowl, and they're now tied with Detroit as the second favorites to win the NFC. Just moments ago, Green Bay GM Brian Windhorst took to the podium to discuss this huge acquisition.
No, I think, obviously a player like Micah is very unique and very rare is it that they're available, right? So as this kind of came together, it was just one of those things where it was a unique opportunity for us, and it was going to cost, right? There was going to be some expense with it, but we just kind of thought it was the best thing for our football team, and we're excited to get him. We're excited to get him out there and get him with our team so that he can get up to speed as fast as possible.
Obviously, you weren't here when they signed Reggie, but I'm sure Ron was here. Obviously, did they ever talk to you about what that meant? And is there maybe some parallels with Micah being?
Yeah, I don't think there's really any parallels to that at all. I mean, again, I wasn't here, so it's hard for me really to compare that. different time. I think the Packers organization was in a different space at that time. So I can't really comment on that. Mike is his own man, and he's going to forge his own path here. But I think he's going to be a really, really good fit for our locker room, really good fit for our team. But that was a little before me.
Let's bring our NFL analyst, Mina Kimes, to give us her reaction to this. I feel like Brian right there was playing it super cool. He's like, yeah, I think it can probably impact our defense in a significant way. What do you think? Like, what kind of impact is Parsons going to have now for this Packers D?
I think he vaults the Packers D from being top 10. They were top 10 last year, by the way, in most metrics, to potentially being one of the 5 best defenses in all of football. Last year, I mentioned that they were top 10 in a lot of metrics, DVOA, per play, yards per play. They were top 5. But one area where they were not ranked near the top of the NFL was pass rush, particularly their standard 4-man rush. They were much better when they sent an extra rusher, often Edgerrin Cooper as their star linebacker. 26th in pass rush win. Micah Parsons is first in pass rush win amongst edge rushers over the last 3 years. The Packers' highest ranked player was Rashawn Gary last year, who was 42nd. This was an issue that they needed to address, and they didn't just address it. They dramatically revamped it in a way that I think makes them legitimate contenders, not just in the NFC, but in the entire NFL.
Among some of the more confounding things that we just heard from Jerry Jones last night, this idea that this move is going to make his team better. I've essentially thought, I feel like it's probably Brian Gutekunst that should be saying that. Do you think they are now a top contender in the NFC after getting Micah Parsons?
The Packers, yeah. Absolutely. To be clear, the Packers were already a really solid team, and I think we're a playoff team. Last year, I think it was kind of slept on how balanced they were. I mentioned that the defense was top 5. The offense was top 5 as well. They just struggled a little bit with consistency. They needed to add a playmaker, and it appears that they did in the draft with Matthew Golden, who's looked fantastic early on. But right now, when I look at this team, how they're built, how well coached they are, I think they're right up there with, frankly, any team in the NFL. I still have them just outside of Philadelphia, but I would have to say, to me, they're second now ahead of Detroit, given the change in coaching staff there and some of the questions on the interior of the offensive line. That's how big this trade was. It cannot be understated how much impact a player like Micah Parsons has on this defense.
I love that you mentioned that, too. They're going to get to measure their shiny new toy right away. They open up the season with their division rival Lions week 1. But you mentioned what it does for the Packers. The Cowboys ship away their best player, and they get Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks in return. That enough to you?
No, absolutely not. I feel bad that Kenny Clark is like the name in this, because he is a really good player and he's been so underrated for so long. But he is 30, and I don't think he solves the Cowboys' biggest issue, which was run defense. And now they just created another issue, which is pass rush. Outside of Micah Parsons, you have Dante Fowler Jr., who was good last year, Donovan Ezeraku, who's an exciting draft pick, but all of those players are much better with Micah Parsons getting doubled on the opposite side, and now he's not going to be. Every offense's life's just got a lot easier playing Dallas. And as far as whether or not they're going to be better in the long term, I truly believe they could have gotten more than this if they had made this decision early on. This feels like a last-minute decision and a change of heart. And that's just not a smart way to run a team in the NFL. You want to maximize a return, get the best possible players. I do not think Dallas did that.
Jerry keeps hearkening back to the Herschel Walker trade like I've done this before, but back when he did that in the 80s, it involved 18 picks and players that he then used to build that dynastic Cowboys team in the 90s. Mina Kimes is giving us her reaction to a size
memory. It happened just over 24 hours ago. The Cowboys sending All-Pro Micah Parsons to the Packers for defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Dallas fans still not over trading Luka Doncic. Now, just under 7 months later, it's Micah. And for one guy who's just a victim of circumstance, that is Clark. Here's his reaction earlier today.
Man, this trade wasn't getting done unless I was in it. And that made me, man, feel wanted right there. And, man, I'm happy to be here. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed.
Nothing's changed. My goals haven't changed. Our team goals haven't changed. I hit the players on that today after I talked about, just the tough couple days for all the guys. And the standard is the standard. With all the new pieces and people we had in there, I needed to hit the goal, which is to win a World's Championship. Mike is an incredible player. Nobody disputes that. He's a great player, but this is the ultimate team game. It's the ultimate team game, and we're not going to win a championship with just one person.
All right, now, Luka is the third favorite to win the NBA MVP next year. Micah, the new top.
The largest trade in Cowboys history, at least since they traded Herschel Walker to Minnesota. In this case, they also traded away their best player, All-Pro Micah Parsons, to the Packers. They get Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks back. It's only the second time since 1967 Green Bay traded 2 first-rounders for a player. Certainly, they're hoping Micah works out better than the 75 trade for quarterback John Hadl. You take a look at the impact. Well, certainly it's had one. The Pack now jumped from 10-1 to plus 550 to come out of the NFC with only the defending.
Or how many times we see the Photoshop, it's just, you still can't get used to it. Yeah, Micah Parsons in green. Green Bay green. He'll speak at the top of the hour, and SportsCenter will carry it live. Again, that shocking trade, sending him to the Packers. Defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks go to the Cowboys. Stephen A. Smith, listen to his reaction.
This is a disaster for Jerry Jones. This is a bad, bad situation. And I think this is something that's going to taint whatever legacy he hoped to have, because this is not a football decision. He can slice it any way he wants to. Micah Parsons is a superstar caliber player in the National Football League. If you had made this deal in March and opened the floodgates to everybody, then there's no question that you would have had a better deal offered to you than the deal that you just agreed to. This was clearly not for football reasons. This was because you thought you had a handshake agreement with a young man that was basically pleading with you, talk to my representation. But on this particular morning, I don't like to see Jerry put himself in this kind of position. It looks very, very bad. This is not a good day for the Dallas Cowboys at all.
Preach. I thought he would be enjoying that a little bit more. No. Crazy.
It's maybe too easy for him.
Maybe it is too easy. By the way, ESPN Bet, it's Futures Week here. Kevo, it's interesting and ironic. We're doing a Futures Week when there is no future for Micah Parsons with the Cowboys. Joe Fortenbaugh, our betting analyst, is here to explain what that all means. I'm going to go back to the futures because last week on this show, you liked the over for 7.5 win total for the Cowboys. Do you still stand on that?
I do. We didn't move it off 7 at all. It's still sitting 7.5. The juice was affected a little bit, but you still have an offense that last year, 7-10 with Dak Prescott missing 9 games. Offense keeps us in it. Now, if you're looking for a couple bets with how to make sense of all of this, start with Jordan Love as your MVP at 18-1. If you're waking up today making pro-Packer bets, you're doing it wrong unless you find something like this where the market wasn't all that affected. What do we need to know about MVPs? Well, they play quarterback. 12 straight have been quarterback. They win a lot of games. 12 straight have been 1 or 2 seeds. And on top of that, 21 of the last 22 have won 12 or more games. Point being, if you think Micah Parsons helped this team win a ton of games, that's a way to bet it. However, when it comes to Parsons himself,